So a really good story from Mark Weiser in the Athens Banner Herald about the development of highly sought after NFL prospects at Georgia. And here's how the story goes from Mark's reporting in Indianapolis. Make sure you're going over to the Athens Banner Herald to check this out. He says, and I'm just going to read it from the article. It says, offensive lineman Jamari Sawyer said that a former five-star player at Pace Academy in Atlanta on Thursday recounted that Jordan Davis was an overweight scout teamer as a freshman who became a regular for the defensive line by week 6 and cracked the starting lineup in week 8. So that was the Florida game. You may or may not recall that year. Davis ended up being an All-American defensive lineman who won the Outland Trophy and the Bednarik Award as a senior. His development was definitely there, Jamari said. I don't think anybody should question that because talent needs to be developed. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody really just walks in the door and plays. Not at Georgia. Even though it may seem like that from game 1 of their freshman year, but fall camp, spring workouts, and summer workouts, that's development we all need it. No question about it. And Jamari was a guy that needed development too. Now, see, I I went to go up to Calhoun High School to watch Jamari and company at Pace absolutely, I feel like, destroy the Calhoun Yellow Jackets, but someone got destroyed. It might have been Pace. I can't remember who it was. Here's Jordan in the book DAWGSTRUCTION. Make sure that you're picking it up below. That picture, this actual image, no one else has this image. They have an image of him doing this, but it doesn't capture the smiles on the faces of the redcoats, y'all. Look at that. They are pumped. Jordan was given an award for being an honorary member of the Redcoats that day. And it did take Jordan some time. I saw Jordan play against Zamir. I think that was the first game in 17 of the high school season that year. And he played offensive line. I mean, he was an offensive tackle, Jordan, at Mallard Creek. They went all the way over to Scotland County and played Scotland High School. You get real sensitive if you call it Scotland County High School, where Zamir played in North Carolina, near where I went to college, actually. And Zamir didn't need development necessarily, but Jordan did. And it wasn't obvious because he was playing offensive line. And then Zamir got hurt and had to recover and so forth, and that's development too. All of these things add up. I've been talking about this a lot lately because we've had a lot of discussion of the NFL draft. And the NFL draft is a calculated risk. I don't know if it can be scientific necessarily. I mean, part of it is scientific because you're talking about measurements and so forth. But you are making a monumental decision on where to draft a particular person based on their 3 or 4 years of work. And the 3 or 4 years of work at Georgia have developed guys like Jamari and Jordan into what they are. Being a numbers person, for a long time when I was at scout.com, which is absorbed by CBS, I would track players from Georgia, where they went to school, and what level of star they were. And if they were a 5-star player, what was the likelihood of them getting drafted into the NFL? And you would think it would be, 80% an NFL player, a 5-star player. No, it was about 40%. That's pretty good though. If we're being honest, 40% of players that are 5-star guys to get drafted in the NFL, that's a big deal. Like Caleb King. I don't think Caleb was drafted, not that I recall. So any number of things can happen along the way. Just because you're a 5-star player does not guarantee you being a great player. And then you also have lower star players, Clint Bowling, David Andrews, whoever else, Jordan Davis. These are guys who were developed and were or developed themselves in many ways. There's no clear path, but one thing that it involves is you got to do what you got to do. You have to do the grind. You have to do the work. None of this stuff is magic. unfortunately. I wish I could snap my fingers and get y'all to buy DAWGSTRUCTION, but I have to consistently tell y'all that it's right down below. Well, it's no different with these guys. I mean, they have to do what they have to do in order to achieve the success in their life to position themselves to be very good NFL football players. And by the way, along the way, having to deal with the pressure of, playing in the college football playoffs, New Year's Six every year, this group. These guys played in New Year's Six every single season that they were at Georgia. Alabama can't say that. Clemson can't say that. Ohio State can. That's it. So these guys have been playing in big games their entire life. But it's all of the little details that add up to getting into position for that. And that's development. I mean, it's that simple. In 15 years ago, college football was not like it is today. You didn't have nutritional tables everywhere. You didn't have um, all of the accoutrements that go along with being in college football now. The data, the GPS, all of the speed stuff. We didn't know all those things. There's so much more information now. Sometimes there's too much information, and you should just go with what is obvious in front of you. But in the case of Georgia, what Kirby and them have done, this is where they've succeeded more than people realize. They say, oh, well, these guys, they just go get the best players. Yeah, I would go get the best players too. Are you a moron? You don't apologize for having the best players. Why would you do that? Why would you apologize for being successful? You wouldn't, right? In the modified capitalism that is recruiting. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if Kirby and them could get every single player, they'd do it. They would do it. But instead, they can only get the 25-ish guys that they can get, and they develop those guys. So, George Pickens, major injury during his time at Georgia. He's had to work himself back. If you look at the board, all of these guys have had something to deal with. Jordan Davis, weight situation. George, obviously he had the ACL. Zamir, ACL. Cook was hurt during his time at Georgia. So it's not, you don't just roll onto the field and play. I mean, practice in college, from my experience, it was not fun. It was not fun. It was tough. I did not enjoy it. It was rough. I mean, it was rough. It was harder. I played basketball in college. It was much rougher than any football I ever played. We didn't have any pads on, and everything was legal. And I hear the Georgia practices from time to time, and I know they're rough. I see them play football. I mean, I see them on the field. That's rough enough. But the practices are worse. I'm here to tell you. All of that is development. Everything Jamari's saying is true. The development was definitely there. I don't think anybody should question that because the talent needs to be developed. This guy is very smart. I don't care what anyone says. Nobody really just walks in the door and plays. Nope. Even though it may seem like that, from game one of their freshman year, fall camp, spring workouts, and summer workouts, that's development, and we all need it. Well, I don't think it could be said any better, Jamari. Let me know when you're ready to come on the program, and we'll talk about your time at Pace and at Georgia. But he's dead on right, y'all, and he's a very good representative of the University of Georgia and Pace too. Private school kid. Check out DAWGSTRUCTION below, and we'll see you over on the website. Thanks for watching.